Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week of This Week in Eorzea. With me, as always, is the beautiful and talented Pyra.
Hello. Good Monday. I almost just said good morning. Good Monday.
Monday. I hope everyone had a fantastic holiday. I hope you know what day it is. I hope you know where you are and who you are. We're going to get started with some Final Fantasy XIV news. There isn't a lot of it this week, though. Everyone's just kind of recovering. Still going through some turkey leftovers, probably. Okay, at least that was me. I always had the turkey carcass in the fridge growing up for like a week afterwards, and it was cold turkey sandwiches every day.
That was us with ham. Ham was like the Christmas thing, so it was like the ham sandwiches day number 6, you know?
Yeah, it works. It works. What do we got going on here? So, I was not on when this happened, but there was, all of North America went down.
All of it.
All of it. Like, I saw the graphs, like, North America just died entirely. Now, they're saying this is DDoS. They even posted on the official Lodestone that it was. What are your thoughts? Like, this isn't DDoS as we've seen it so far.
This is the first time I've seen the entire data center just say goodnight. Like, this was kind of, I don't want to say scary, like, I didn't think that there was going to be any long-term repercussions for this, but, like, that the whole data center was just, like, quiet. And at first it said, like, maintenance, and I'm like, they aren't doing maintenance without saying that they're doing maintenance! That's not a thing! We would have known about this! Yeah, I thankfully wasn't in it, because I would have cried as I finally cleared chaos yesterday after 30 plus hours progging.
Congratulations!
Thank you. Finally, it was, I saw a lot of rage posts for people who were in the middle of things and then just disconnected for however long that was. It was a while.
Yeah, shout out to some people in my community. One person who was in an hour-long baiting for a big fish, and a couple others who were progging some chaos. I heard of someone who was down to 3%, and
I feel for them. I progged that fight for over 30 hours before I got it clear. It is rough when you get that close to the sun and then kaputs.
So you were progging strictly from Duty Finder? Or sorry, Party Finder?
Party Finder, yep.
So I've heard some interesting things about that. What was your experience with Party Finder?
Trauma. No.
Trauma, yeah.
I think midway through the fight, if I had to give it a recap without getting into the super nitty-gritty details, the fight is a very fun fight. Even with how chaotic it is, no pun intended, it is fun. A lot of people lie in Party Finder prog point. So, like, if it says, like, a clear party, they've maybe gone, like, 60% of the way through the fight. Right. So, that was my experience a lot, was going in with folks who were not able to match the prog point that they said that they could. And then a 50-50 split of people that were, like, super supportive and helpful, and then, like, just jerks that would just, like, leave right away and cause a domino effect. So it was definitely this is probably the most challenging Party Finder experience I've had in this game so far.
Wow. Okay, but you made it through. So do you have any plans to, like, grind for gear or mounts or anything, or are you just one and done?
No, I love the mounts and hair way too much to just one and done this one. Luckily, they made the prizes, like, really worth it so that you want to go back. I'm hopeful because I think once you get into clear parties, or farm parties, it's a lot easier to know that somebody's understands the full comprehension of the fight. I'm not going to go in as frequently as I did before, but I'm definitely going to go back in, like, as soon as this weekend and try to get the rest of my clears and then help people out afterwards.
Awesome. Okay. Now I am still looking forward to giving it a try. I've just been enjoying hearing everyone's experiences of it so far. At least the one thing every single person I've talked to can agree on is that its name is apt. Like, it is most certainly chaotic.
Oh god, I wouldn't call it anything else. Like that title and that like category of fights now is the only thing you can call it, because that is exactly what it is. It is chaotic good and chaotic bad at the same time.
Yet there is no good or bad. There is only the chaos.
Chaos.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm glad you made it through. I'm glad the DDoS didn't stop that. People have been reporting lag since the beginning of Dawn Trail, though. Have you noticed it being a particular problem since then, or?
Not for myself. I think I've had instances. Like, I've definitely had, like, maybe some more frequent instances, but not, like, make it or break it for myself.
Yeah, I know it's really weird because we've had, like, this ongoing DDoS problem, but, I mean, I guess maybe at least the silver lining is that a lot of people are playing other games right now. So there was an article we saw about Final Fantasy XIV seeing a drop in players. This was from The Gamer, and this is an article you found. So what's the gist of this?
So the gist of this is that it kind of nods to the fact that typically, if you've never been around for many expansion launches, right after the expansion launch, you're going to get a lot of people coming in at the beginning of the expansion, and then like soon after, people kind of stop playing for a little bit. It's just kind of something that happens. You get a surge of people coming in, and then it dips down right after. This is the first time it sounds like that the dip is just dropping so quickly. So they're saying that it has dropped from 1.15 million to 1.03 million. And if it's continuing its trajectory, it's going to drop below 1 million active players for the first time in a very long time. So it sounds like they're just kind of showing off some concerns over the expansion. I know that there's been a lot of kind of talk about whether parts of the expansion are good or not, or are captivating the current player base. And so this is just kind of putting out some of the facts while touching towards those points. One of the claims that they make as well is that it helped a lot of the newer content is for kind of the high-end raiders with very little content for casual players, and so it kind of like opens up some of those conversations that we've seen trending recently as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And we've been talking about that before too, about a lot of these other side content avenues that just haven't seen an update in a very long time. So it's great that they're putting out like the Chaotic Alliance raid. They're keeping up with the extremes, but for people who are maybe more casual, looking for a different type of grind, not so much, especially with the last expansion worth of like relic weapons being so easy to get. But I mean, we're still talking about 1 million active players, which is still a really good number, right?
I would think so. I'm not a huge numbers person, so like, I don't know if that trajectory is like actually scary or not, but like 1 million active players is still nothing to joke about. Like, it's not your mom and pop's indie game. Like, this is a huge player base still.
Right. And I mean, we'll get into it a bit more, but 7.x has just begun. So there's a lot more that's going to happen over the next year. And yeah.
I think you brought up a good point too, Debbie, where like there has been a lot of other games launched in the past several months, like the past 6 months, like not just Dawntrail, we've had a lot of games launch, or like that even if they launched prior to Dawntrail, they like were still hitting like peak popularity in the past rest of the year. So it's honestly not too surprising with all things considered. I'm not like, oh my god, the game's dying. Like, it's not really that surprising to me.
The thing is, it's an MMO, and MMOs don't go anywhere. So I know if I want to play another Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, that I can get that done and then go back to 14 and not really have missed anything. Yeah. So that's the benefit of an MMO, is you don't have to play it concurrently every day to make a difference on your character, unless you have a particular grind you're after. So I don't think this is bad at all. I think what we should be paying attention to is when like 7.2 hits, how many people come back. So.
Yeah, agreed.
Awesome. Thursday the 16th is the end of Heaven's Turn. So for those who are not in the know, the New Year's event Heaven's Turn has begun. You get a I
forgot the text.
Try to remember. It's a great serpent of Ranka.
It's a white serpent with a clementine or like little orange on top of its head.
So make sure you do that event before it ends. Or else, if you want the item, you're just going to have to pay for it on the Mog Station next year. That's how these things work. It eliminates the FOMO, but I mean, you have to pay for it.
One thing that you can't pay for, though, that my favorite part about Heaven's Turn event as well, is you can get your fortune. You can pay, I think it's 10 gil in the back part of the Aft Castle to get your fortune told. And so it'll tell you what type of fortune you're expected to have in the new year.
Apparently last year it said that my year was supposed to be incredibly lucky, so I hope it tells the truth this year. Unless it's very specific to your Warrior of Light, so
probably
I guess.
Specific.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
made a lot of
cookie.
money.
Don't take it too seriously.
I made a lot of gil in game, got a large house, so yeah, it probably is very specific to your Warrior of Light. Yeah, no, that's a good point. So head to the Aft Castle there. It was something they put in, I think it was like maybe 3 years ago, that they've just 2 or 3 years ago. I think this is not
something around then.
Yeah.
No.
There's not a lot other like timeline events coming up. We haven't heard any announcements yet. Tip of the week. Sure, let's do tip of the week. The first week of the new year, let's talk about retainers, because I love talking about retainers. I've got 10 of them. I really enjoy my retainers. So, this week's tip of the week. Unlocked retainers that are attained through purchasing them on the Mog Station or as a benefit to purchasing the Companion App subscription are unlocked for all characters on your account. So if you have paid for 6 retainers, create a new character, that character gets to unlock 6 retainers once they get to the part of the story where they can do that. So it's for all characters account-wide. If you stop paying for a retainer, their stuff isn't lost. It doesn't disappear. It isn't deleted. It just grays out in your retainer selection menu. So if you start paying for them again, you can just open them up and have access to everything they had on them. They save their levels. They save their classes. So you don't ever have to start from the beginning. And yeah, retainers. They're like $2 or $3 a month if you do want to pay for one. I'm not advocating it by any means. I understand people don't want to add more money to their subscription, but if you do, I know who you are and I feel you. So it's a good deal. It's a good deal. Okay. What aren't we talking about? Okay, so you tell everyone how you came across this, and then I'll explain why it's not as bad as it seems.
So I was looking, I make the thumbnails for our This Week in Eorzea, and I was looking for a picture of Yoshi P before I found the image that I ended up with, and this new video that I had not seen before, because it was just posted today, came up on my newsfeed, and it is called The Problem with Yoshi P. Actually, what is the full name of it? I know it's The Problem of Yoshi P something, and it brought concerns. Yeah, the problem with Yoshi P and honest critique, which automatically was like, what is this?
Exactly. So, look, this was posted to Reddit too, which is where I found it. They posted it to Reddit and be like, "Hey, let's discuss." And it was clickbaity in that sense too, because you had to click on the video to even know what to talk about to leave a comment. So this video was like 11 hours old and had like 19,000 views. But guys, it's all clickbait. Like, this video has nothing to do with Yoshi P. Personally, it was a critique about the game. It was critiquing like the lack of challenge with the MSQ, no threats in the overworld, lack of exploration, lack of player agency, about cutscenes taking the majority of the plot points, illusion of choice, that sort of thing. So it was a general critique of the game, but throwing it in as clickbait by putting Yoshi P's name on it. So we are not going to talk any further about this, because I'm not going to tolerate anyone talking down about Yoshi P. So what are your thoughts on this before we put it to bed?
We don't make Dad angry. He cried once. We're not letting it happen again, people. Now, I want to open my horizons to other folks' opinions this year in 2025. However, I am also of the mindset of being really over the clickbait in general. That's just a broad statement, not even just about this post. Like, I am so over the hyper clickbait. And until I kind of get my own full opinions under wrap that I haven't said yet, or kind of like watch these videos and monologues that are over an hour long in some cases, I'm not going to talk about them, because I have not watched them and cannot give proper feedback until such time.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And I mean, the problem I have with putting all of 14 on Yoshi P's shoulders is he's got a lot going on. On. Like, between 14 and 16 and everything else he does PR-wise, like the fan fests and everything. Mm-hmm. The fact that he doesn't sleep, doesn't eat, mostly just smokes and and lays on the ground when he gets a chance. Like, this dude is already at high risk for something really not nice happening to him. So I think we need to be super careful what we say about him. He's clearly doing his best, more than anyone could ever expect of him. He's holding up Square Enix at this point. Like, Final Fantasy 14 and 16 are by far the biggest earners for Square Enix in the past couple of years. So this dude needs all of our love and support. You're allowed to criticize the game. Absolutely. We wouldn't be fans of the game if we didn't suggest things they could do better, or mention things that we don't really like or that don't make sense. But don't put Yoshi's name on that. For shame. So,
especially when he's not able to make all the decisions by himself. Sometimes he's probably not able to make any decisions depending on the subject.
Exactly. So, I mean, he is producer. He does have final word on a lot of things, but he also has to delegate. And so he can't own everything. And world, just please have mercy on Yoshi P. Because I am afraid of a post Yoshi P world. So that's my 2 cents on that before we stop talking about it. So we're not talking about Yoshi P that way.
Keep Yoshi P's name out your mouth.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, and this week's hot topic, let's get into it.
Oh, the one time we do have to put Yoshi P's name.
Of course, as always, every year they release a New Year's kind of statement, just saying Happy New Year's, everyone. This is the direction the game is going in. This is what we've got up our sleeves. So this has been posted on the Lodestone. I think I can kind of share it while we talk about it here. Okay. So he says Happy New Year to Final Fantasy XIVers near and far. This is Yoshi P. Hey, Yoshi P. Beyond a boiling hot summer and an almost non-existent autumn, we've wintered through the end of the year and into 2025. I was announced as head of the old Final Fantasy XIV on December 10th, 2010. So for me, this marks my 15th year on the project. So he goes on to say that 15 is a really big year for anniversaries in his culture, where they tend to really celebrate the fives. So 15 is 3 fives that he's been working on the game. And it was the release of their 5th major expansion, Dawn Trail. He admits here that 2025 they're looking to release patches 7.2 and 7.3. So if you're kind of looking to judge how far into Dawn Trail we're going to get by the end of 2025, that's about how far. So we know that we're still, another 2 expansions more than that until the end of Dawn Trail. So we got a lot of time left on this expansion. So we're thinking maybe the end-ish of 2026 we might be prepping for another expansion. Yeah, my own work is focused even further ahead as I wrestle with a certain storyboarding task. A recent conversation with the community team went something like, Korea was the last stop on our fan festival tour, wasn't it? Yep. So what are we doing after Fan Fest? Don't you know? The next Fan Fest. So they're going to be prepping again for another year of fan festivals. So, I mean, as soon as they end, the next one begins. They have a little quote here. Now he has this kind of all the time in like the Christmas and New Year's kind of statements, but he wonders how its words will influence the story going forward. Yeah, never stop, never turn back. He who stops will ne'er endure, and he who turns will ne'er be more. Which I like. I like that. So they've chosen a path, and if they stop now, then it will be giving up. And if they backtrack, then you'll never know what it could have become. So, it's very nice. The development team is deep into work on patch 7.2, and in February he'll start his own checks on implementation. Our jam-packed schedule is set to bring you a jam-packed patch, so look forward to loads of new content. Kicking off with the release of patch 7.2, we hope to bring you a year of fun and surprises both in-game and out. So, 7.2 and 7.3 are on the agenda for this next year. What are you thinking? What kind of inspiration does this message bring to you, Pyra?
For me, it kind of goes on theme with how Dawn Trail has felt for me so far, where it's just a lot of, I think there's going to be a lot of exploration ahead. Like, honestly, Dawn Trail so far has felt like a lot of trial and error and kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. And we've talked even before the expansion released, and we mentioned how like this is kind of that pivotal moment for them to try something new and to try new things. That's what this makes me still feel. Like I feel like we're continuing that trend of just, it's kind of like the chaotic raids that just released. Like we're trying new things and we're seeing how the community responds and what's working and what's not.
Absolutely. To your point, that's 100% what I believe. Like, if you know you've got like 2 expansions, Shadowbringers and Endwalker, that are high stakes, high impact story, gonna bring lots of people to the game, like need to be nailed perfectly, that isn't the time for experimentation. But when you've got an expansion like Dawn Trail, that is the beginning of a new era, not at all high stakes story, like really low stakes story. Yeah, now is the time to just throw everything you can out there that you've been meaning to try for the last 5 years and see how it goes over. Gauge the community response. You have nothing to lose. It's not impacting a fantastic 10-year worth of stakes storyline. It's just, yeah, have fun with it. And even if they release something that doesn't go over so well, it's still telling them more about the community and what we're looking for. So, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It does lead to things feeling a little bit disjointed, but I think it's the kind of growing pains that they were going through in Stormblood. And think about what happened to the patches after Stormblood. So I think having a patch like this where they're growing, where they're changing, where they're experimenting has done wonders for the game in the past, and I don't think it's a bad thing now.
Especially now where we are so far removed from a major story arc that we have not as much to lose. And I think if they're going to future-proof this game, like they want at least 10 plus more years out of it, you have to try the new things at some point. And it is much easier to do them when we're kind of still in this like beach time vacation episode of an expansion versus like if they did this in the middle of the Hydaelyn Zodiac, like final thing, hey, we're trying a bunch of new stuff, like everyone would have just been like rioting and freaking out and panicked. And like this is probably the only time that they're gonna have in the next 10 years to truly try something different and have little repercussions compared to what they could do.
Absolutely. No, and I mean, it caught me off guard when I was first reading this, that they mentioned that 2025 will only be releasing 7.2 and 7.3. Because you think about how much content that will be, because they do still have updates fairly regularly. And I was looking back in my memory to other expansions, and there were some patches of Shadowbringers and Endwalker where I was more excited for the patch, or as excited for the patch as I was for the release of the expansion. So some of these patches are incredibly bulky, with lots of content. It feels like a brand new expansion drop. So I really am looking forward to being excited. You know? If that makes sense. Yeah. And the thing is, they haven't talked a lot yet as to what's going on in the expansion. So we've heard kind of with the introduction, with the fan fests and stuff, kind of what's on the agenda, but those are only really tight top-down views of what's going on. Like, we know at some point we're getting Beastmaster. And we know at some point there's going to be a gathering / crafting exploratory area. And we're pretty sure there's going to be like a fighting exploratory area. But we don't know what any of that really means. We don't have a lot of details. And there sure are going to be things dropping in these patches that we haven't been told about. So
It's a lot.
It makes me really crave the next live letter, which right now we don't even know where it is. If he's working on finalizing what did he say, patch 7.2? Yeah, so going into February he'll be working on that. We're gonna start seeing like promotionary stuff after that. So the next live letter will probably be in near the end of February, early March. Yeah.
I also just want to know FanFest when. When? Oh, I want to know a few things. When? How do I get in? Please let me in.
Right?
That's all.
And I mean, they have such an opportunity with North America Fan Fest this time around to really do better than last time. You know, there was a lot of critiques of the Fan Fest last year with regard to the venue and that sort of thing. So I would really like to see them come back strong from that. I imagine it is probably a coordination nightmare if you're located overseas and you're trying to find a venue for a large event like somewhere you've never been. That would probably be pretty crazy, but
I will have to say too, and it's pushed off because I'm wearing my PAX East hoodie, which made me think of it. PAX East this year takes place in May versus its typical March cycle, and I only bring it up because usually we see an appearance by Yoshi. The past couple years, especially, 14 has made an appearance. Pretty much the whole PAX East that I've ever been to, they've been there, and Yoshi P has made an appearance the past 2 years, every year. So I'm wondering if that's the next time we'll hear something major, is if they're going to try to save it for May as well. Or maybe it's like a post patch, or maybe it's for a 7.3 kind of rev up, but I wouldn't doubt if that's also when we see another big kind of talk from Yoshi.
Absolutely. No, and I mean to the point that people have made online, we're at a pretty slow point in the game. With the exception of the chaotic Alliance raid and the latest extremes, there really hasn't been a lot of casual grindy type content. That being said, if you want some really dry grindy type content, I have some ideas for you. Because I've been trying to get the gathering mounts, which take a god awful amount of scripts, and right. There's bicolored gemstone mounts. Any of that, if you manage to get through, sell exceptionally well. If you'd rather have tens of millions of gil instead of another mount, the variant dungeon rewards are increasing in price on the market board again because people still want them, but people aren't doing them. So.
Right.
There is a lot you can do to grind and make an impact in the game. It's a little tedious. There's some new furniture items for the game that exist in the Dawn Trail dungeons. If you grind them, you might come across one or two pieces. They sell exceptionally well, so.
Ooh, Prince has a good one too. I just saw a comment come through. Hi, Prince, by the way. Maps. Those coffers that drop from the Broxkin, I think it's Broxkin maps.
Broxkin, yeah.
They're still very rare. It is still incredible, and they're selling still over 10 million a piece. They are still a hot commodity right now.
Yeah, I had one drop during one of my maps, and I gambled it and lost.
Oh, my heart.
But if you happen to hold on to one, they have not decreased much in value at all because they are really hard to come by. So. And those weapons, like everyone loves those weapons. It's the type of weapon update we were hoping to have come for like the gold saucer or PvP, but maps are fun. Maps are fun.
And it can make you a lot of money, even if you don't get a big item. Like if you just sit in a map party, you can still like an hour, and you're well over $1 million, even if you win no loot. If it's just the gill.
Oh yeah, in Raw Gill, every Friday night we run maps for 2 hours. We get at least like between 1 and 1.5 million just Raw Gill before anything sells. So no, maps are really lucrative, really fun. Is there anything going on in game right now that I could like really powerfully try to sell you to get you to do? No, there isn't. No, there isn't. But you know what? If you're in game, it's all about right now just chipping away at those achievements, chipping away at those mounts, and maybe being a little bit ahead when the next patch drops. If you're playing other games right now, are you going to miss anything significant? No, you're not. You're not going to become behind. You're not going to, miss out on any content that won't be available later. So.
It's probably a good time to do so too if you're someone who gets burnt out. Like I have plenty of friends right now that are just, I guess, like in the Savage and Ultimate terms, it's raid logging is what they call it, which is just you're only logging in to do your static stuff and then you're bouncing. If that is what you need to like not burn out in the game and kind of like want to rage quit completely, do it now. Like there's nothing, unless you're going after the chaotic or going after the ultimate or maybe going after one of those achievements and you feel like, hey, I really want to take like maybe like a month to like not log in as much or something, like now is the time. Like you have nothing crazy coming up. Yeah, just time to do some tedious things.
Exactly. I'm leveling my trusts slowly, getting them back up to max level 100. And yeah, working on those scripts every week, just doing the custom deliveries, whatever I can to get my hands on some. But yeah, any other comments on today's hot topic? Or are we ready to move on?
Just the final closing. Like I'm still excited for what's to come. Like I love that Yoshi puts out this like little, it's probably a PR thing, but I do love seeing it every year, just as kind of like Happy New Year and kind of like little thoughts for the future. And it in a lot of uncertainty in the world, it feels like a nice gentle reminder of like, hey, we're still here. We're still caring and like we still have plans. So even though I'm like in the dark of what those plans are, like in full, like it's a nice little nod at the beginning of the year.
It is. And as you were saying, it is really personable. Like I've played a bunch of MMOs and there are very few of them where I could name the producer offhand the same way that 90% of the 14 community knows Yoshi P's name. Like he has put himself out there for better or worse and become the face of 14, and that deserves a bit of applause, We know who he is, and he takes that responsibility very seriously, and it has caused him to talk very emotionally about the game during fan fests, and I appreciate that, and I wish more games did that. Instead of hiding from the fire, he's right there taking it to the face. So, but moving on, let's talk a little bit before the end about your plans for 2025. What are you up to this week and beyond?
Yeah, so in the immediate future, I have plans for, not technically this week. This week, we're just getting back into our regular rotation with Ultimates and trying to get kind of back in the swing of some regular logging in and gaming and casual content. But it is technically at the end of the month. January 24th is my 10-year anniversary of playing 14.
Yay!
So it is literally 10 years from me making my account. I'm a dinosaur now. And this week I'm going to be planning some community event because I really want that whole weekend to be a celebration of like where I started and how far I've come, because it's a huge milestone. So that is my immediate goal for this month. In general, I have a lot of goals for this year in the content creation space and some personal spaces. I just want to keep making more content. I just keep wanting to, as much as things in the game, things in 14 can be uncertain sometimes, I still love it after all these years. And so I'm going to be bringing different kinds of tips and tricks, guides, reviews, opinion videos, etc. So trying to make a schedule, stick to it, and just conquer 2025.
Awesome. And congratulations on 10 years. Yay.
Thank you.
I know my anniversary is somewhere in January too, and now it makes me want to look it up. So
I can look it up on the Mog Station. It's a little bit of a pain to navigate, but
I think it was like the 13th or 15th of January 2013-ish. So getting there. I'm gonna have to look it up. For me, I think this next week is really just refreshing everything, refreshing the Twitch channel, refreshing the community, kind of interactive activities and rewards and channel points and subscription icons, and refreshing my YouTube channel and getting on there weekly and posting videos. Really, even if I don't have a large production, just talking to the community and announcing what's going on and being more present. I'm over 4,000 subscribers now, which I never imagined would happen. Yeah, like 4,010. So thank you so much, everyone. It is obvious that my videos are helping the community, so my goal in 2025 is to continue to do so. Maybe cutting back a little bit in terms of live streaming to be able to accomplish that. Because the guides that I've put out have really benefited people, and I need to better balance streaming with content creation and with working in real life. So I think I'm going to take the next week, possibly two, to really just refresh and refocus. Because what I like about the start of a new year is just starting fresh. You know that feeling where you like have a brand new notebook and you like open it and it's empty and pristine and yes,
this
and
one for me.
You're like, this could become anything. This could become anything. It is so full of possibility. That's what I like about a new year, is not carrying anything forward, just starting fresh, forgetting about who you were and what was going on in the past, and just focusing on the future. That's where my headspace is at, and I look forward to everything that's to come. I look forward to better health, which will cause me to talk better and stream better and interact better. So, yeah. Weekly, I do have a medical appointment tomorrow, but I will be streaming the rest of the week. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you can catch me there. Yeah. Are you streaming this week?
I am. So I might... Glad that you said that. I think I'm also going to be taking my Fridays off. I usually try to do a solo stream, but I need more time to balance. So I will at least be keeping up with my typical Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday Fru streams for Prague, and then Sunday... And probably before Raid Saturday, we'll get into some random 14 shenanigans and group fun.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's about it for this week's episode. I look forward to continuing this podcast in 2025, and perhaps maybe our graphics or music might freshen up a bit at the beginning of the year as well. Kind of grow a little bit as we do as creators, and it's a journey. It's a journey.
The unending journey.
The unending journey. Thank you so much for joining me, Pyra. It is always a pleasure to have you with me.
Likewise. I would not rather start the beginning of the year and the content that we create with anybody else.
Okay, and thank you so much, everyone who joined us live in chat and who will watch this in the future. I think I saw like 475 views on our podcast last week after a couple of days, so I was really impressed that people are watching this after the fact. If you're one of those, shout out in the comments so I know who you are, and thank you so much. We will be back next week, same time, same channel, with some more Final Fantasy XIV breaking news. Take care, everyone. Love yourself as much as you love others, and we'll see you in game. Bye.